We may all have soy sauce in our pantries, but what about soy sauce powder?
Well, today on WTF, we're going to show you how to use soy sauce powder to make an amazing Ponzu crispy rib and teriyaki jerky. Hello and welcome to WTF, where we transform food here in the Modernist Pantry Test Kitchen. I'm Chef Scott Guerin.
And I'm Janie Wang, one of the owners of Modernist Pantry. Now here on WTF, every week we're going to cover unique ingredients, techniques, show you new recipes, do demos. So make sure that you ring the bell and subscribe because you do want to be notified of our content. It comes out on Tuesdays. And this week we're going to be talking about one of my favorite flavoring agents, soy sauce. But of course it's Modernist Pantry, so we're talking about soy sauce powder. So Scott's going to cover, exactly how soy sauce powder is created, how do you use it and get the most, bang for your buck out of it. And then, of course, I believe we have a couple of amazing demos lined up, so we can't wait to cover them. All right, Scott, why don't we start with the basics? Everyone knows soy sauce, but how do they create soy sauce powder?
So it's basically just soy sauce that has been spray dried onto a maltodextrin carrier. So if you see the back of the package, it'll say maltodextrin, but that's the only way for it to be spray dried onto something. You can't just spray dry it onto like a metal sheet and have it work. So it needs to be on that carrier. And what that means is that it just needs something to grab onto so it's fully dry and it can be in a powder form.
Yeah, and that's kind of a great thing to start off with because a lot of people think maltodextrin is a filler, and they are like, why isn't it just 100% soy sauce powder? I'm like, well, because it wouldn't work.
Soy sauce would be crystalline, so it would be it has a high concentration of salt, and salt when it's dry is crystalline. So you wouldn't have that powder effect. It wouldn't be nice and dry and free flowing without the maltodextrin. So that's a really important part of it. And it's very simple. It's very, very dry, very powdery. So if you take it, you can just put it on anything, which we've done with a few different cool recipes here, and just done it in different ways. So we don't have to use liquid soy sauce, which then adds water to different recipes that you don't necessarily need water in.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of the benefits when we talk about powders is not adding moisture. Would there be any reason to, let's say, reconstitute it into soy sauce, or do you think let's just stick with the powder for now?
There's no real reason to reconstitute it into soy sauce. With the maltodextrin in there, it's going to take a lot of this soy sauce powder to really kind of bring it back into that full, robust kind of soy sauce way. But when you have it in the powder, it's just so powerful as it is. In the powder form, you don't really need to. And if you put it into something that has moisture, it's going to reconstitute anyway. So then you don't have to add it to water and then add it to something that's already going to reconstitute it. So.
Right. So what do you think are some of the best applications or possible applications that you found when you were experimenting with this product?
So just adding it to ingredients that are going to be dried. So we did a jerky, and we want to do a teriyaki jerky that was really highly concentrated in flavor, but was relatively quick. Like this jerky can be done in one single day. You don't even have to let it go overnight. It can be done, within 12 hours. So it's very simple to do. It's 4 hours of marinating and then 8 hours of drying, and then you have jerky. And it's extremely simple, and that's just from taking out as much moisture as you possibly can from the method. And then also something cool is just turning the soy sauce powder into something a little bit more. So we made like a Ponzu powder that we're going to sprinkle on some crispy ribs. So I think we should probably get into that because people are very excited. So.
Yay, Ponzu powder.
So what I did is I took some ribs, I removed the silver skin off the back, and then I rubbed them with 5-spice, some of the soy sauce powder itself, and a little bit of garlic. And then what I'm going to do is I just braise them until they're fall apart tender. And this is a very important part, is that you have to take it and then you have to cool them completely. If you don't cool them completely, it's very hard to slice them into individual ribs. So once they're sliced into individual ribs, they're kind of coated in a little bit of the braising liquid and some of the fat. You take them and you put them into cornstarch, and you can see them here. They're individually dusted in cornstarch. You can see this entire method on our Instagram. But this is very important that you want them to be completely covered in the cornstarch. So there's a little bit there. I make sure that it's completely covered because it's just going to kind of grab onto that fat and moisture and make for an extremely crispy rib. So I'm going to put them in there. You don't have to add any wet batter to it or anything. The fat and the moisture from the rib itself will grab onto the cornstarch and create a nice crispy rib. I'll do a few of these. And this is a cool method that I've been doing for a while. and it's such a crowd pleaser. So I'm going to take that and allow them to fry for about 5 minutes.
Okay.
It could be anywhere from 3 to 5, depending on the temperature of the oil. You can go really hot with your oil if you're, if you can get it up to that 392 right before the smoke point of most oils. You can get them done really, really quick. This I went a little bit less because not everyone's going to have the luxury of, having a control freak or an instant read thermometer that's going to let you know exactly how hot your oil is.
Okay.
And with that, then I took basically our orange chicken sauce that we had in an earlier recipe, and I evolved it a little bit. I added some red bell pepper to it, I added some lemongrass, and I really kind of concentrated those flavors, and that acts as the glaze. But really what's going to make it is the Ponzu powder. So I have our soy sauce powder here, so I'm going to put it in there. And then I have some Valencia orange dried peel here.
Ooh.
So what we're doing is making Ponzu powder. So we're just kind of taking that soy flavor, we're bringing it up to the next level with a little bit of sweetness. So there's some brown sugar. We have our lemon powder, right? So there's a lot of citrusy flavors coming from the peel, but also our lemon powder here. And then some roasted and crushed sesame seeds, which actually add a lot of texture to the top.
Those ribs smell amazing.
Right, so I'm just going to gently mix this together. If there's any clumps from the sugar, just break them up.
Okay. And this will be a dusting, or how are we going to apply it?
Yeah, so this is really nice is that once these ribs are done, they're super crispy. They're you put the sauce on them, the sauce holds onto the crispy ribs, and the crispiness doesn't go away. It's kind of crispy for days, as we like to call it. So once that's done, then I sprinkle this right over the top, and any moisture that comes through that sauce is going to start reconstituting this, and it's going to just make for a really sticky, really flavorful rib, and you get all that flavor of the soy sauce, the sugar, the lemon powder, everything. I'm going to work on this, break up those little bits there.
Yeah. Do you mind if I try some of this jerky?
Yeah, so the jerky is really nice too, is that we just made it very quickly. We did the 4-hour marinade, and it was just a dry marinade pretty much. And you would allow it to sit on there and just pretty much pull the moisture out right away, and then place it into a dehydrator. If you don't have a dehydrator, I would suggest putting it in an oven on a rack at your lowest possible setting. And once it goes in there, you can turn off your oven and just leave it cracked. And if you notice that it gets too cool, you can turn it back on. It's still going to take about that 8 hours. It could possibly take a little bit more. And we ended up with a really flavorful jerky that we're very happy with.
Yeah, it's really flavorful. I'm not going to eat any more now just because I'm going to have to start gnawing on it like a bone, but it's delicious. I really like it.
One thing is, don't leave your brown sugar out, or else you get a little clumps like this.
Yeah, that happens. So, and then when you say you braised the ribs, did you marinate those first or not? I forgot.
So you just rub them with the 5-spice and the soy sauce powder, and then you braise them immediately after that.
Perfect.
So we don't have to worry about it. So if we can take a look at our ribs, we can see how crispy they are. They still have a little bit of time. You can see the golden brown, but the cornstarch is still very, very white on them. So we got to just let them go for a little bit longer.
Okay. And if you do want to get any of these recipes for either the jerky, for the ribs, for the orange chicken that Scott is referencing, those will all be in the links in the description below, as they are every single week. So it's a great place to just kind of get started and see all the different ways you can use soy sauce powder and all the other stuff on our website as well.
Yeah. It's really good. So you can take these out. It's starting to get really nice and golden now. Get them out. Yeah, that one's perfect. You see how golden brown it is.
Yes.
The exterior of the rib becomes very crispy as well.
Ooh. And this one, I think, was like a real crowd pleaser when we when we pass it around our
we
group
had everyone
here.
come into the test kitchen here and just.
Yes, the ribs are so good.
So one more in here.
Ooh.
We have our ribs. So we have our orange glaze that we're just going to put over the top.
Ooh, that looks so good.
That's fine. And just mix these up gently. Don't worry if they don't get completely covered. We're going to pour the sauce over the top. So go here.
And this is something that people can definitely make ahead of the time, right? They can do all the braising the day before, and then, when they're finally ready to serve it, do the frying last minute.
Yes, exactly. So one thing you're going to want to do is after you put a few of them down, just give them each a sprinkle of the ponzu powder and then move on to the next layer. So you're not just getting the ones on top that are covered in the ponzu powder.
Ooh.
There, do a little bit more.
Generous helping of the ponzu powder.
Yeah, and that's the nice thing about it is that you can go a little heavy-handed on it because we kind of added the sugar and everything. So you're still going to get the saltiness of the soy sauce powder, but it's not too harsh.
Yeah, so this is definitely like a really fun ingredient because I think we haven't yet tackled all the different possibilities of what we could do with soy sauce powder. So if you think of like a cool application or something that you would like to see us do, just leave your comments and suggestions in the comments below, and we'll we read all of them. So we'll definitely think about whatever it is, and we can do it. It's always something fun happening here.
So Janie, these are probably super hot.
I was about to say, I was like, are you expecting me to like pick up freshly fried
melt your face off? So let's not. We don't have to do that. But if you want to see just how they look, super close-ups on our Instagram, we can see some really great shots of them. And, if you want to try them for yourself because they're amazing. The crispy ribs also work with any sauce that you want to add to it. So this is a really cool recipe that's super versatile and it's delicious. So
it is, because I think I tried it at like 10 o'clock in the morning and I ate a whole one. It was very early for ribs, but it was so good that it was totally worth it. So give it a shot. And as always, we love hearing from you and we look forward to seeing you next week. And from here in the test kitchen, I'm Janie Wang.
And I'm Scott Garrett.
Thank you so much for watching, and if you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that bell so you get notified when we drop a new video.
To get today's recipes and all of our recipes, remember to go to blog.modernistpantry.com where you get recipes, ask a chefs, tips and tricks, and more.
And if you haven't already, tell a friend so they know what's going on here at WTF.
And as always, to get any of the ingredients you saw today, you can go to modernistpantry.com to shop.
And until next time, we'll be here in the test kitchen helping you create memorable and magical experiences.